Next, we will have Sister Chrisanne to lead us in a time of stringing the poles together and doing a bit of fundraising as well.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Gives me great pleasure to be giving you the summary of all the breakout sessions that you had this afternoon. So let me just begin. The first question was, where do you see your network in the next 10 years? Okay, where do you see your network in the next 10 years? And interestingly, almost every group had the same answer, almost every group, okay? So one is that they want to be a catalyst for revival, right? Okay, and everyone, every group had youth, intergeneration, children, and specifically men and fathers. So whether it was youth networks or youth movements or collabs or training, almost every network wanted to raise up youth and children, and also to bring back the men and fathers to lead prayer, and that they will bring revival to the church through the men. Okay, so next is that was a catalyst for revival. The second thing is a catalyst for unity, and to break down denominational walls, to bring unity between the prayer networks, to bring unity between prayer networks and denominations, to build youth prayer networks and bring them together, bring youth movements together, be an encourager. Many groups talked about citywide church gatherings, putting together prayer rosters for churches in the same city to pray every day, night and day. And there was also one that said, they'd like to bring churches to pray on the prayer mountains as well, to make that one of the main thing among all the churches in Malaysia. So the desire is to be a catalyst for unity. The third point is to strengthen their own networks. That was, I think that was quite, in fact, everybody said focus a lot on their own networks. A lot of them talked about prayer altars, own prayer altars, family altars, to strengthen that in their churches as well, to strengthen or to expand their own platform. Okay, whatever they have right now, they want to expand in a very big way. One group talked about setting up a working committee to help connect. We talked about the issue of communication yesterday, to communicate better, and to actually get the working committee to pull together all the local churches in their denomination, and to help the churches build their own prayer shields for their own local ministries. Okay, so much focus was on new work, and most of the new work was actually on children and youth and men as well. Partnerships, many talked about partnerships with rural churches or smaller churches to help them resource and also to bring them on board on their own prayer networks as well, their own platforms. A lot of talk on training schools, equipping intercessors, building up their intercessory pool, their watchmen, talked about prophetic training, and one actually mentioned that they want their network, their platform, to be a conducive place for intercessors to come and pray. Okay, so that's the third point. The fourth point also expands on yesterday's feedback in the breakout session. I talked about enhancing digitalization strategy. So many found that it was actually very important to continue to build on the hybrid strategy, and that would be the model going forward, to build together on-site as well as online. And they believe that that digital is the way to go in order to organize prayer rallies, conferences, and meetings that will help them get beyond the geographical and physical boundaries as well. Okay, and the fifth point was to work with Prayer United. All right, they want to continue to work and connect with PU, that PU is able to unite all the churches together through prayer. PU to provide resources. They want to see more resources, prayer points. They want to include even different sectors, for example, for business, education, and government, how to pray for the nation in such a way, and to find collaboration. That at PU they can find more network, more friends, more fellowship to collaborate among the prayer partners for a deeper and enriching spiritual life. And there was one debate I saw. In fact, quite a number of groups were focusing on a lot on activity, growing, volume, expansion. Another group was the complete opposite. So let me just run it through. One was based on activity. Let's have more prayer rallies, more prayer meetings. Let's have it once a month. Let's have it weekly, etc. It was quite activity and event centric. The other groups, however, were more lifestyle focused, more focused on strengthening the secret place, more focused on discipleship. Um, and there was this comment that well, it's good to plan, it's good to talk about all these things at the breakout session, but are we really hearing from the Lord about His blueprint? And we should spend time actually taking this back to actually pray over them rather than having major grand plans. I think that's quite a fair comment. And the other group says, yeah, but we need to hear from the Lord how to bridge the gaps. Where are the gaps right now? Identify those gaps and let's try to bridge them first. Okay, so two different sides. One is very big numbers focus, 20,000 intercessors, 800 watchmen, prophets, that kind of thing, big numbers. And the other group says, well, small is the new big. Let's get small into small groups. Let's try to be encouragers because people are discouraged. Let's try to work from the small and be prepared for the future, for persecution and that and so on. Okay, so one very big numbers focus, one just goes small, and one says we don't care for numbers. We are more focused on something else. Okay, we are more focused on building up prayer life. So you do get two very different views on how they want to look at the next 10 years in growing their prayer ministry. One feels that it is very elitist, that you're raising intercessors and prayer warriors, giving them a big name, as if they are very special people in the church. And the other group talks about having a whole church movement. That means everybody in the church, from the children, the Sunday school, to the youth, to the church itself, everybody should be participating in prayer. Everybody. So they want to see the whole church move. So they're very different models, different churches, of course, different theological leanings as well. Okay. Second question would be, what do you think needs to be done immediately in the next 3 years? So this is like, let's take your big timeline, all your grand plans, and put it back down to what do you think you need to do? Okay, I think the first point was everybody wanted to collaborate and connect. Let's really talk about unity. Let's really get serious about building relationships and using PU to do that, for example. Build relationships within your cities, your towns. And I think there was one comment that said that everything is top down. You need to get the pastors and church leaders to buy in. So we must focus on meeting them, talking to them, and getting them to really lead the prayer movement. Okay. And one group also said that we want to put the youth networks together because they're the next generation. So we want to work among them. Churches in the same city, building the citywide church network as what they mentioned in the 10-year plan, using PU. Big churches want to work with small churches, do collaboration there and help to resource them as well. And the idea is really to be intentional in building unity outside of denominational walls. There was a lot of emphasis to actually break the wall down. So intensify efforts to get men and church leaders involved. So it was quite interesting. Where were the men? So here is like almost every group that you can. I looked at all the big groups. They will say, okay, we're going to look at the men. They want to look at influencing pastors and leaders, bring the men together. And one point that came up again and again was, in the short term, they want to look at prayer from a bigger perspective. That means they want to see the prayer emphasis to go alongside with mission, because prayer births mission, and you need, discipleship. You want to see that impacting their lives, and also a deeper knowledge of the word. So many groups actually said we want to see Bible study being part of prayer, a more holistic approach to prayer. So they want to relook immediately in the 3 years how to put prayer together with all the other parts of the church and bring the whole church together and pull it along together. Again, they want to influence pastors and leaders to really take up the gauntlet to really pray, push prayer, and that's the most important thing. Put emphasis on discipling the next generation. Of course, they want to strengthen their own network. Okay, everybody in the short term wants to just take care of their own networks first, their own churches first. See where are the gaps inside. A very common point that came up was the prayer altar, the family and the personal. Get that one. Every family must have an altar. Every person must have your altar. So focus on training, how to build up the people, how to strengthen your own network, expansion plans, again, youth, children, and men. To keep up your whatever you're doing now, make sure that your prayer movement doesn't shut down but continue to grow in the church, in the network, to make sure that the fire is still burning, to mobilize better. Continue to add prayer networks to your network. Some talk about merging the smaller ones together. Okay. Again, I just wanted to mention that in the short term, they wanted people to go to the prayer mountains as well. Again, the focus is on training, and an interesting.
Chrisanne, you are muted.
Was it for long? Oh, okay.
Just for a while.
Just repeat for a second.
All right, fourth point would be to bridge the gaps. One point was that we need to have a new mindset given what is changing in the world, and new mindset should lead to new results. The thinking was that we shouldn't just look at intercessors only, we should look at the whole church. So every Christian, all right, is a man, woman, or child of prayer. So you should be, if you call yourself a Christian, you call yourself a disciple, you should be a person of prayer. So have that one as the thinking behind what prayer, the prayer ministry should be, what a prayer movement should be. I love this group, and they actually said, big is the new small. We need to go small. This is the way to go. We need to prepare for the future. That was really, I thought that was really a bold comment to make, because everybody's looking at numbers, wanting to grow big, and you want to grow small. But I think that point is well taken. One group said about rethinking the churchscape. All right, we're almost on a similar trend with the other group about big being the new small. To look at where are the gaps is to look at where are the ruins, to rebuild that which has been broken, which has been ruined, which is not growing. Look inside there and bring everybody together to see true revival coming through. Okay. At the fifth point for the short term will be the need for resources and direction. Interestingly, many groups actually talked about PU leaders. PU need to have good leaders to continue to seek God's direction, so everybody can be better. Via Zoom as well, we can grow. We can actually connect and be able to guide and to give clear direction to everybody how to pray, because a lot of people apparently are very discouraged. Okay, so they're looking for discipleship courses and materials, to have more prayer conferences for various age groups, not just the current group that we have, but for children, youth, and even for senior citizens. Someone actually asked for digital education as well, which I forgot to put it down. Again, a lot of prayer materials and teaching. Okay, so what are the building blocks that need to be put in place? Let's take a look at the building blocks. The immediate thing, I think that was quite clear, was if we have a 10-year goal, we must be prepared for leadership transition because most of us are aging. We got to prepare the groundwork, at least put in the building blocks to see the next generation coming through and intentionally building up the next layer of leaders. Second point is, prayer needs training. If we want to build, and discipleship also requires a lot of training and building up as well. So we talked a lot about training and being a key building block. And the prayer meeting of the church. The focus on the building block was actually on the church itself, the local church, to build back strength into the weekly corporate prayer meeting at the local church. Okay, so there was a lot of emphasis on going back to the church and finding out what's wrong at that prayer meeting and sorting that one out, so that there will be revival coming through. Then we can have, a stronger flame. Okay, fourth point, that all pastors, leaders should show example by being willing to join combined prayer meetings. I think when you talk about coming together, wanting to network, wanting to cross denominational walls, one of the things will be, when are we going to meet up at a combined prayer meeting, especially in the city? So they're saying, okay, let's show some example, get our people along, but we ourselves as pastors should really be leading our church in prayer and also in joining combined prayer meetings and leading that. Okay, there's only one comment. Not everybody did that because I think we didn't put it into the slides. One group only commented, have you found the sessions to be useful? I got just one word answers. Yes. Or no. Okay, so they didn't really elaborate, but this group, I just read this out to you. It's in Bahasa. Sangat diberkati dengan perkongsian oleh pembicara, sangat membuka fikiran dengan perkembangan negara seperti politik dan perkembangan semasa dalam negara. Sangat membuka fikiran dalam perkembangan negara, terlebih kesaksian yang berlaku di balik tabir. Memberi semangat untuk lebih maju ke depan dan lebih jauh. Sesi diskusi perbincangan sangat membantu untuk membuka fikiran dan pandangan. Sesi dialog Exco PU sangat menginspirasi. Thank you, Brother Michael, for sending this in to me. Thank you so much. Right, and we really appreciate that. Now, that's the end of the Stringing of Pearls. Many of you asked whether you could have a copy. I think the Exco did say yes, and let me just double check. And what I'll do is I'll email to you, and the group leaders should be sending it out to you as well. Those who submitted your registrations through the group. Okay. Okay. I just wanted to clarify. This morning when we talked about sowing into the work of Prayer United, this is the excuse me. This is the bank account. But just a quick note on point number 2. Okay, you must write down your name so that they know who it is, but you have to tell them whether you actually need a receipt or not, because they are on default, they will not give you a receipt. So if you want a receipt, you just have to inform them you need a receipt. Okay, that's about the only point. Do take a picture of this, and then we do hope that you'll support and sow into the work of Prayer United. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you, Chrisanne, for a job well done. She is a master of stringing all the pearls together, all right? And we have benefited so much from her masterful art skill. Thank you, Chrisanne. And